Tonight you'll probably eat something with a label on it, a calorie count, an ingredients list 12 words long, half of them chemicals you can't pronounce. You'll call it dinner, but the real answer to what humans are supposed to eat is far stranger than anything on that label. You've heard the story before. Cavemen ate meat, big, bloody, mammoth-sized steaks around a fire. It's the origin myth behind 1,000 diet plans. Eat like your ancestors, they say, and you'll be lean and strong like they were. Here's the problem. That story is mostly wrong. For most of human history, meat was not the main course. It was the bonus round. Rare, unreliable, something you celebrated when it happened, not something you counted on. So what did your ancestors actually build their bodies out of day after day? For 2 million years. The answer will change the way you look at your own plate. Start with the bones, not the bones of prey animals, the bones of early humans themselves. Anthropologists studying the teeth of early Homo sapiens have found something surprising sitting in the enamel. Microscopic scratches and pits, invisible to the eye, but readable under a microscope. These marks are called dental microwear, and they tell a story about texture, coarse, fibrous, plant-based texture, not the smooth wear pattern you'd expect from a diet dominated by meat. Dr. Amanda Henry, a paleoanthropologist who has spent years studying ancient dental plaque, found something even more specific. Trapped inside fossilized tartar from Neanderthal teeth, she identified microscopic starch granules, cooked starch granules, from plants like wild grains and tubers. Neanderthals, the supposed brutish carnivores of popular imagination, were eating roasted roots. That single detail rewrites a lot of assumptions. If Neanderthals were cooking starchy plants, then the picture of the caveman as a pure meat-eater starts to fall apart. And if it falls apart for them, it falls apart for us too. So picture it differently. Picture a small group moving across a landscape, not chasing a herd, but reading the ground, looking for a certain shape of leaf that means there's a tuber underneath, watching which trees are dropping fruit this week, following the sound of birds to find a hive. This was the real rhythm of ancient life, slow, attentive, built on knowledge passed down for generations about what the land was quietly offering. Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherer groups get to see this rhythm in something close to real time. The Hadza people of Tanzania are one of the last populations on Earth still living largely off wild foods, and researchers have followed them for decades. Dr. Frank Marlowe spent years documenting exactly what the Hadza eat, and the numbers are revealing. On average, plant foods, tubers, berries, baobab fruit, honey make up a substantial majority of their diet by calories. Meat matters. It matters a lot, especially for status and for fat and protein. But it is not the daily foundation. It is the exception that everyone remembers because it's exciting, not because it's common. Why does this matter for you, sitting here in a world of grocery stores and delivery apps? Because your body was built by that older rhythm, not by steady abundance, not by 3 guaranteed meals a day. Your digestive system, your metabolism, your cravings, they were shaped by uncertainty, by feast, then famine, then feast again. Think about your own hunger right now. Have you ever noticed how a craving for something sweet or fatty feels almost urgent, almost impossible to ignore? That's not a personal weakness. That's an ancient survival circuit. For millions of years, calorie-dense food was rare and precious. A ripe fruit, a cracked open nut, a piece of fat from a kill. Your brain evolved to flood you with reward chemicals the moment you found it, because finding it again wasn't guaranteed. Now flip that circuit on in a world where calorie-dense food is everywhere, all the time, engineered specifically to trigger that same reward response. Your ancient brain doesn't know the difference between a ripe fig in the savannah and a bag of chips in a cabinet. It just knows, dense energy, take it now. This is where the story gets stranger. Your ancestors weren't just eating differently, they were eating unpredictably, and that unpredictability might have been the whole point. Researchers studying the evolution of the human gut have proposed something called the expensive tissue hypothesis, an idea most associated with anthropologist Leslie Aiello. The theory goes like this. The human brain is incredibly costly to run. It burns through a huge share of your daily energy just sitting there, thinking. For that trade to be worth it, something else in the body had to shrink to make room in the energy budget. That something was the gut. Compared to other primates, human intestines are relatively small and simple. Chimpanzees, by contrast, need a longer, more complex gut because their diet leans harder on fibrous, hard-to-digest plants that take real effort to break down. Humans traded gut size for brain size, but that trade only works if the food coming in is already easier to digest, which means something had to change about how early humans process their food before it even reached their stomach. That something was fire. Cooking is easy to take for granted. It's just what you do before dinner. But cooking is arguably the single most transformative technology in human history, older than agriculture, older than writing, older than the wheel. When you cook a root vegetable, you're not just making it taste better, you're pre-digesting it, breaking down tough cell walls and complex starches so your body has to do less work to extract the energy inside. Richard Wrangham, a primatologist at Harvard, built an entire theory around this idea. He argued that cooked food didn't just supplement the human diet, it made the human brain possible in the first place. Extra digestible calories, freed up by fire, funneled straight into growing the most energy-hungry organ any animal has ever carried around. In his view, you are not just a creature that learned to cook. You are, in a very real sense, a creature that cooking helped create. So here's the picture forming. Not a caveman gnawing on a mammoth leg. Something closer to a small, resourceful forager, cracking open a fire-roasted tuber, picking through a fistful of berries, occasionally striking gold with a kill that the whole group would share and celebrate. A diet built on variety, on opportunism, on knowing dozens of edible plants across every season, not counting on any single one of them. And this raises an uncomfortable question about the modern world. If your body evolved for variety, unpredictability, and effort, what happens when you hand it constant abundance and zero effort at all? You already know the answer, even if you've never put it into words. It's sitting in the aisles of every convenience store. Food that requires no tracking, no digging, no waiting, no fire. Food engineered to hit the exact same reward circuits that once rewarded a rare and hard-won find, except now it's never rare and never hard-won. It's just there, every single day, as many times as you wanted. Your ancestors' bodies were built by scarcity. Your body is living in surplus. That mismatch, more than any single food or any single diet trend, might be the real story behind why eating today feels so complicated. None of this means you need to start gnawing on roots or building a fire before breakfast. That's not really the point. The point is smaller and stranger than that. The point is that the story you've been told, meat-eating caveman, red-blooded hunter, isn't the whole truth. Your ancestors were foragers first and hunters second, plant-gatherers who cooked, shared, and adapted to whatever the land gave them that week. So tonight, when you sit down with that labeled, packaged, effortless meal, you're not really breaking from your ancestors. You're just standing at the far end of a very long line that started with someone cracking open a fire-roasted root, wondering what tomorrow's food might be.